What's up guys, Luna Wolf from XS here. I wanted to do a quick video on the mistakes I made with the Smittybilt Defender roof rack, and also, I don't know how cool it is or whatever. The first thing I would do, if you can see, this is how it attaches. I believe this is how all universal Smittybilts attach if you don't have a roof rack already. You can see it attaches here, which is really bright outside so it's hard to see. It attaches here with 2 bolts through the roof in each bracket, so 8 bolts total. You have to actually drill into the roof. I tried to put it on these rails, but when you take this off it's too deep. I'm sure there's some way you could fix that. You could get shims or something like that, but I'm not really sure about that. But anyways, if I did it all again, I would start out by drilling. You have to drill a 1/2-inch hole. If I can get these things out, I'll show you what goes in. Of course, I locked the truck. Sorry about that. Where are they at? Battery too low. All right, this is what they look like. They're crush washers. So what happens, I can't do anything today. I have been fighting with this truck today. It crushes the washer and it seals off the hole that you made in the roof. So it's a 1/2-inch drill bit you have to use. And if I had to do it again, I would start out with a smaller drill bit to start the hole, and then I would use the 1/2-inch. Because if you could see right here, I put 2 holes in my roof. I would also take the roof liner out. If you don't want to take the roof liner out, do what I should have did. Start out with a smaller drill bit and then move up to the 1/2-inch drill bit, and don't put a whole lot of pressure on it. Also, the crush washers, these things that sit down in there, the bolts attached to, are extremely fragile. So my my wrench got stuck, so I hit it with a hammer just to get it off, and it cracked the nut in there, so the bolt wouldn't crush the nut, basically the rubber nut down in there. So do not hit these things with anything, because if you see, I have a different bolt in this one than that one. That's because I had to get a different crush nut from Home Depot, and I had to get a different bolt, but I finally made it work. I would also, before you start, when you drill the holes, put some sealant in them. I got black silicone. It's like RTV sealant. I put it around. Then I put the rubber grommet down in there, the little rubber crush nut down in there. Then I put the bolt through it. I'm gonna seal these completely off with this sealant because I don't want this thing leaking whatsoever. It actually stormed before I put any sealant on these. On the inside, it stormed last night really bad, and this roof didn't leak. So the crush nut, the little rubber crush nut things that come with this roof rack, they actually work, and they don't leak. Eventually they might, and that's why I'm putting the RTV sealant on there. Why is my camera so blurry? Another thing to note, if you get this roof rack, and they did not, I bought it from Extreme Terrain, the actual rack itself. They do not specify, or they didn't at the time, they didn't specify that it does not come with the mounting hardware. So all you get is this thing. You don't get a way to mount it. I had to go on Amazon because Extreme Terrain didn't have these. These are the AM4. It's AM4 for some reason, meaning 4 bolts or or 4 brackets. It's AM4, it means 4 brackets. And it's on Amazon. So the roof rack right now, I think it's 170, and then the actual mounting hardware is 90 on Amazon. So it can get a little expensive, but this was the only roof rack I could find for a single cab Toyota Tacoma, because they don't make these single cab Toyota Tacomas anymore. They quit making them in 2014, I believe, maybe 11, maybe before then, but so they don't make these anymore, and they're not real popular for off-roading. I don't understand why, because it's such a small truck and it's so good off-road and 4-low. I don't understand why they're not more popular, the single cab. But this was the only roof rack I could find that was cheap for this vehicle. I'm sure you could go get one made, but that would probably turn out to be expensive. But If I had to do it all over again, I would take my time. I wouldn't beat on the bolt because it will crack the nut. And I would also start with a smaller drill bit and then move up with the 1/2-inch drill bit to drill through. Also, take your time. Don't put a whole lot of pressure on these because you'll go through, what's that noise? Oh, there's somebody next door. You'll go through the actual headliner. So, and also seal it off with RTV. I think it looks really good. Oh, another thing I forgot to tell you. If you see how I have the L bracket on the inside, I would actually take this bracket here and flip it so that there's more support right here because it's stronger right here than this roof. This roof is just thin sheet metal. So I would actually take the bracket and spin it around, but I'm not gonna do that because I've been fighting with this thing and fighting with this thing. But all in all, it looks great. Anyways, appreciate y'all watching. If you got any questions, hit me up in the comments and I will answer them as best as possible because this was possibly one of the most aggravating things I've undertook. I don't know. Anyways, hit me up in the comments. Appreciate y'all watching. Check me out on Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram than I am on here. You can also message me on Instagram.